All right, I think we are good. Everything's been sent out, so. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and this is September 21st, and this is a September 21st Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to continue on the work that we started on Tuesday, which was getting post-process effects for camera setup. Tuesdays was focused on getting gamma correction working. So now, if if you have a darker monitor than the monitors that I use, you can adjust your gamma to make dark scenes brighter. Because I light map everything to be the appropriate level on my monitor. Obviously, I can't anticipate what everyone's monitor is going to be, so gamma correction will help with that. And today, we are going to get anti-aliasing to work, as well as come up with a solution for the main menu cameras that exist whenever a scene is loaded into a save file. So to show you what I mean, I'm going to go ahead and get started playing. So when you boot up TextQuest, it actually looks at what your previous save file was, and it says, okay, do you have a save file, first of all? And if you do, then it'll look at what level was loaded, and then it will do this, where it loads a level behind the main menu. That way, if you continue, you can just pop right back in there. You don't have to worry about anything extra. So there's no extra loading that has to go on. But part of what we have right now is if we go to Options, Display, we have an Adjust Gamma here. So we can adjust this. Let's go ahead and adjust it to something ridiculous like 2. Hit Apply. It doesn't really look different in the background right now, and that's because the camera that we're using to render this scene, I randomly pick, well, not randomly, I pick a couple of positions to place cameras in every level for the main menu so that we can get this type of effect going on. But right now, they're not actually hooked into the settings for the game. So if you adjust settings here, it's not actually going to make a change. But then if we make this change, then continue, the player character's camera will understand those changes and it'll respect them as you make them. But these main menu cameras do not. So we need to actually adjust that to make it so that they do. So we're going to go ahead and I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to 1. It apply there. I guess it doesn't really matter. I can just hit back and we're going to stop playing. And I was a fool. I should have opened up my Visual Studio before I did this, because now we got to wait like 5 minutes while it stops playing. Well, in that time, I'm going to take a drink. And then, I guess, talk about what I'm going to do to start off. So to start off today's dev stream, I'm going to focus on getting these cameras set up. So I need to make a script that is going to hook into game settings on start and update itself as needed. That way when you make these changes, we'll be able to update the cameras. And once we get that working, we're going to move on to anti-aliasing solutions. And currently I have 2 different forms of anti-aliasing that I'm supporting. I have super sampling anti-aliasing, so SSAA, then fast approximate anti-aliasing, so FXAA. I would also like to get MSAA in there, and temporal if at all possible. But it's kind of tough to do that. So Unity has, for temporal anti-aliasing, Unity has a post-processing stack, and I'm kind of resistant to using it because it is not performant. It is not, at least last I used it, it just its mere existence in the scene, even when it's not doing anything, if it's enabled, it just tanks frame rate by a noticeable amount. I have no idea why, but that's apparently how it works. So I'm not exactly enthusiastic about using the post-processing stack. If I can probably experiment with it to see if it's worthwhile, but I'm not entirely convinced that it will be. In any case, let's go ahead and jump to. I'm pretty sure that my mic just went off, so I'm going to stop. Nope. Maybe it's just my headphones going out. I'm going to stop talking for about 5 seconds. Alright, well, it seems to be fine. So, alright, never mind. It was a placebo, psychological effect. Alright, let's go ahead and jump over to not our cabin. Let's go to our castle, because that is the most recent save, apparently. So we'll do it there. Let's see. So castle, menu cameras, and each of these cameras has, really, I have the screenshot tool. That's kind of funny. Probably don't need that. In any case, I want to remove it. Very hard to tell. Well, at any rate, so there are only two cameras that we have to be concerned about. One in the, oh, look at that. there's our blue shadows from our global illumination being borked. Unity, why do you do this to me? Let's go to the castle exit real quick. Excuse me, had to sneeze. Come back here, and now our global illumination is correct. Global illumination. Yeah. I really wish I knew what caused that blue lighting effect. I don't know. But either way, I do know that I am going to ask Unity experts about that when I go to Unite in a couple of weeks. So hopefully they will have an answer. In any case, let's go ahead and select our menu cameras again. So the first one is in the throne room, and the second one is in the drawing room. So over here. I probably should have three, actually, like one there, maybe one here or something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. However many I have, it's an arbitrary number. So let's go ahead and go to camera one. We're going to remove the screenshot tools. It's hard to say. I might just leave those in for now. We do need to go to scripts, so let's see here. I guess that's probably going to go. Let's look for display options view. I guess they'll go here. So let's go to C# script, and we'll say display camera. Maybe display menu camera. Is that? I guess actually it doesn't make sense to put it there, but I probably will have something called menu camera. And this is a camera that is exactly what it sounds like. It's the cameras that you see when you're in the main menu and a level is loaded. So we'll just actually have a class on our menu cameras. All right. Come on, Unity. I believe in you. So these are basically going to keep track of their own post-process effects, and then enable and disable as the game settings desire. So nothing too crazy there. Basically just how to phrase it? Basically just component enabling. So let's see here. Get rid of some stuff. We don't need session. We don't need text post scene loader. Don't need brightness modal anymore. Don't need game modal. And here we go. Alright, so this is going to be text quest. Excuse me. And let's see. First things first, let's go ahead and say private void start. And while we're actually doing that, we're also going to say private void on destroy, I believe, is what I want. So start is a standard function that you see fairly often. It's just called at the start of the scene after everything's initialized. On destroy is called when this object is destroyed. And since I'm going to be assigning event listeners to an object that does not get destroyed, it's important that I remove those event listeners whenever I leave the scene. Otherwise, whenever it fires, it's going to fire to a null object, which will cause errors. So let's see. We're going to have above that have private void on display update. All right. So in here we're going to say global.get and then game settings. Actually, I guess do I need to do that? Is this static? I might have made this static. I did not. Okay. So although the events are static, which is an interesting choice, then that means I can just do this game settings dot on display update plus equals on display update. And we'll just copy this, paste it into our on destroy, and say minus equals. All right. So on display update, we are going to need, well, let's assign some fields first. So we're going to say public. How do I want to do this? Well, I suppose we'll just do a public list of components, similar to what post-process controller does. So we'll basically do, I guess this. That makes it a little bit awkward. Yeah, right. Then I will. So for now, I'm going to do this post process controller dot post process group, and we'll just make that an array. Post processes. So it's new. All right. So on display update, we're going to say, let's see. What do I need to look for? Which is kind of the problem. What did I do here? On display refreshed, I just had a couple of things that I specifically looked for. Yeah. My mic cut out, which means that my guy is probably going to keep talking for a second. Or never talk again. One of the two. Well, we'll find out in a couple of seconds. If he doesn't start talking, I'm going to reboot him. I wonder if that's just a weird thing. Well, no, because it only happens once. It's weird. It's a weird built-in Unity thing. In any case, let's go ahead and say using colorful. And do we want to have... Yeah. Jeez, we're basically pulling the post-process controller into this class. Kind of sucks. It is not super great. I guess I really only need enable and disable effects. I don't really need much beyond that. So let's go ahead and move this up here and go up to enable effect, generic T, and okay, yeah, I gotta do this. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna break these guys out into their own class. So let's go ahead and comment all of this fun stuff out. Come back here, let Unity compile. While that's happening, I'm gonna reboot my avatar. Aha! No idea why that happens. I know no idea why I have to do it only once either. It must have something to do with OBS. Because if it was the app that I'm using for my avatar, then it wouldn't work the second time. It would just keep, having me cut out after a while. Super weird. In any case, let's see here. So, post-process controller. Okay, let's see where you're used. Okay, and I guess that's on the player. Go ahead and say create C# script. See, just this is not exactly the best way to do this. Do I have a post processes? I don't. Let me make a folder for this. So folder post process. Let's do that, I guess. And while we're doing this, let's go ahead and move our menu camera into that. Post process. And then we can begin our reconstruction. after we reload all of this, of course. Which is wonderful because I just realized that I have errors. Huh. How did I not see them? Oh well. Let's go ahead and... Actually, you know what? No, let's go back here. I have to fix those errors before things will compile. And if things don't compile and I start coding while are you serious? Of course. If I start doing things while things, or if I start trying to code while things aren't compiled, you will start getting weird behaviors that you don't want to have to deal with. So it's best to let everything be compiled and then make new scripts. Otherwise, it leads to weird situations where you have to make a new script after you've fixed all the errors for Visual Studio to see that there is a new script. It's really weird. I don't know why they do that. All right, so we're going to call this, what was it, post-process group? Yep, post-process group. So post-process group. All right, we'll reload that. That is just going to be a class that is a serializable, serialized field. System.serializable. All right, let's go back over here. All the way up here. Ah, dang it. I can't get away from it. All right. Let's see. We're going to let that compile, and then I'm going to have to add the enum. So the enum is just a basic enum that I use for convenience when trying to isolate specific post-process effects. Makes it a little bit easier to search through things. So we're going to say post-process, what did I call it? Please let me have this highlighted. Of course not that lucky. And I must have called it post-process ID. Will be my guess. I hate it when I shoot myself in the foot like that. And yeah, okay, good. I did call it post-process ID. So we'll just copy this. Wow, I can't spell post-process. Open it up here. Paste this in. Make this text quest. Get rid of all of this extra stuff. Close you down. Over here, make this text quest. Let's move this stuff out of it into there, and then get rid of this. Seems like every time I make a serialized class below or within another class, I just always end up moving it. All right, let all that compile. Oh, yeah. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. There we go. And now we can just go ahead and uncomment all of this. All right, let's see here. Get effect ID. Ugh, so I do actually end up needing basically everything. Of course I do. Let's go ahead and grab this. Paste that. That. Oh, no, that's the static. So I don't need any of the static functions actually for this, I guess. I need just the regular functions. So effect enabled, and we don't need to worry about has effect actually because I will, well, okay, whatever, I'll pull it over anyway. Yeah. Let's go ahead and grab this, paste that in. That should fix 90% of the errors, and then we just have the get effect that I need to do. And let me guess, you're both doing... Nope, you need both of them. Of course you do. Oy. I hate having duplicate code like this. Drives me nuts. And And they have to be in a list, because of course they do. So, using system.collections.generic. I'm just gonna steal this one from up here. And it's also using system.link. All right. All that fun stuff. On display update. So all that seems correct. Yep. That's all good. So there's our gamma updates. We'll leave that alone for now, I guess. Really? More? Oh, right, the fog. Oh, hold on. Sorry. There we go. And some dev console stuff, which is kind of obsolete at this point. Probably should redo that with a new dev console. All right. Okay. Still have errors. All right, never mind. They just delayed the compilation. Cool. So now I can actually apply this stuff. So let's see. Move you down. Move you, and move all of this. So many things. Here we are, menu camera. Let's just grab that. All right, so effects. We're going to also need our colorful effect. So we're going to call this one brightness. Colorful, which is actually under standard assets. Colorful effects. Scripts. Effects, and we want brightness color gamma. Brightness color gamma. Come on. There we go. So let's go ahead and drag this in. And I think that's it for brightness. So let's go ahead and, oh man, I gotta have like all of this set up on every camera. I'm pretty sure that means it's a good idea to have prefabs. So let's go ahead and let's see. Where do I want to put this? Prefabs, menus. I guess we'll put that here. We'll call this menu camera number 1. All right. So let's grab this, put it in here. Call this menu camera number 2. Delete you. Now we need to go to our castle, and under our menu cameras, one will be missing. We will just simply reassign it. Cool. So let's go back to our intro scene, or our splash screen, and take a look at this. So now our menu cameras should listen for and respect any changes that we make to the gamma settings. And once we confirm that that's working, we can move on to things like anti-aliasing. I really need to figure out what causes these spag likes. Lag spikes. Start. Let's go to options, display, adjust gamma, crank it up to 2. There it is. Let's hit back. Okay, making sure that that worked. Go up to adjust gamma, apply, display, apply, adjust gamma, apply, back, good. Adjust gamma, let's go back down to 1, apply and apply. Cool. So that works. That makes it a lot easier to see everything. Um, so let's go ahead and stop playing. Do I need to do anything else here? Not right now, I guess. So, all right. Anti-aliasing. This is where things get kind of wonky. Do I have anti-aliasing? None. Okay, that's good at least. Now, is that part of update graphics settings? Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? It is. Okay. Do I care about this? I don't think so. But still, to be safe. Let's go ahead and open up our UI and then our graphics options. So currently, none of this, well, not none of this. I believe texture quality, aniso filtering, and shadow distance, I believe those three work, but anti-aliasing and AA amount do not. So let's go ahead first off and open this up in our scripts. And I'm actually going to turn this off, and we're going to take a look at the menu in action. So we're going to play to it. I don't think I have hints set up at all, so there's no hover text that shows up whenever you hover over something to tell you what the option is. We definitely need that. It's generally, I think, bad design to have a options menu that does not actually tell you what each option does, or potential cases that it would be useful. So for example, you can see that whenever I hover over resolution, it tells you these messages at the bottom, or any of these options here. It tells you sort of what they are, what they do, when you might want to change them. So that's a good form, I think, to have in your options menus. But our graphics options don't have any of this set up right now. We need it to have that, but we don't have it set up right now. But I believe texture quality, aniso filtering, and shadow distance all work as expected. Maybe. We'll find out. Let's see, do I need anything else for, so we have anti-aliasing, AA amount, texture quality, aniso filtering, and shadow distance. I feel like I could probably stick one more option in there, but I don't know what it would be. So let's go ahead and disable this. Or stop playing in general, I guess. Let's see here. So graphics options view. Yep, we're gonna have to change all of this. Wonderful. So this needs to change to an event button. All of our buttons are going to be event buttons. Oops, that's a slider. Those don't need to be event buttons. But we do actually need some extra buttons. So let's go ahead and copy this. We have anti-aliasing button, anti-aliasing slider button. Now, only a few of these buttons actually need to do stuff when they're clicked. So apply, cancel, and anti-aliasing button, those all need to do things when they're clicked. The other buttons are being added to handle that tooltip stuff. So we're going to go ahead and paste one in here. That is the texture res button. Then after that, we have a aniso button. And then I think finally we end with shadow. All right. What else do we need? Slider input fields. Those are all good. Anti-aliasing value label. That is fine. Texture res value label. Okay. So yeah, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. I've been trying to think about how to explain the various types of anti-aliasing. So, there's a difference between FXAA, MSAA, SSAA. There's a reason that they're all different, and I would like to be able to describe why they are all different, but I'm not entirely sure if I can. Both just in general, as in I don't know if I personally can simplify it in a way that makes sense for people who don't know what anti-aliasing is really. But more specifically, I'm a little worried that I just don't have the room to tell them because my hint text that's at the bottom of the menu is basically 2 lines long. That's all I can get out of that label. So I have 2 lines to explain what each anti-aliasing does. Uh, maybe I can do that, but it's going to be tough. Either way, let's go ahead and say public string. We're just going to go through all of our hints right here. So apply hint is equal to apply changes and return to the options menu, or apply apparently. Let's go ahead and copy this. Oh, and before I forget, this is going to be a text area. Minimum line 1, maximum line of 2. I think that's fine. Go ahead and copy this. Paste a new one in. This is going to be our cancel hint. Cancel hint. So revert changes and return to the options menu. All right, so this is going to be no AA hint. And this is going to be just a simple the type. Well, no, this is where it's going to get kind of weird. So the anti-aliasing hint is actually going to be technically 2 different fields smushed together. So we're going to call this, instead of apply hint, we're going to call it AA hint. I'll do that, AA hint. And this is going to say the type of anti-aliasing used. So if there's no AA hint, we're just going to say anti-aliasing is disabled. Let's see. Ah, dang it. Control C instead of Control V. Hate it when I do that. So instead of no AA, we're going to say FXAA hint. So FXAA or FXAS. FXAA is a fast and cheap anti-effect for smoothing edges. Jagged edges. Let's see. Let's paste another one in there. We're going to have SSAA as one that we definitely have. SSAA. How do I want to describe it? SSAA looks very pretty, but is intense. Smooths out edges very well, but is very intense. Well, how about saying, but may impact performance. Let's see. We're also going to need one for FXA, or not FX, MSAA. Can't talk tonight. MSAA. And that one I'm going to leave blank. I guess we'll say MSAA is a standard effect for smoothing jagged edges. All right. And finally, we'll do temporal, I suppose. So we'll say TAA. We'll say temporal AA How do I want to say that? Temporal AA helps prevent tearing and jagged edges, but may impact performance. I think that's all. I think that's all a decent amount of explanations for everything. So that's the anti-aliasing. Then we also need texture resolution. So this is going to be hold on. I'm just going to go ahead and just do this and then copy everything. That way, whenever I paste, I'll have an empty thing to work from. So we're going to say texture res hint. Let's go ahead and paste another thing in here. After texture resolution comes the aniso hint, then shadow hint, and I believe that's it. Of course, everything's done there. So aniso, shadow, yep, okay. So we're gonna say adjust the resolution for textures. Ranges from 512 to 1024 to 2048. Aniso hint is anisotropic filtering makes textures look sharp. Look sharper at angles. Well, how about when viewed at angles? And let's see, shadow. How far out shadows are rendered. Reduce to help improve performance. All right. I think those are all pretty decent. So let's see. We're going to need to assign our event listeners to everything. So let's go ahead and come down here. Shadow clicked? Are you even... Yeah, you're not even a thing. Get rid of you. All right, so we're going to say AA button. No, sorry, what am I doing there? Private void on anti-alias hover enter. No, we'll just say hover. Wait, no, what am I? Right. So anti-aliasing is the weird one because I have to actually smush them. So on anti-alias hover. So it's the only one that's actually going to get a function specifically dedicated to its hovering. Otherwise, we're just going to say private void on button hover enter string message. Then private void on button hover exit. No string message there. And that's pretty much all I need from that. I basically just have two functions because I assigned delegates down here in the awake function. So let's see, we're going to want to say apply button dot on hover enter dot add listener on delegate we do all this fun stuff, and then we're just going to say on button hover enter, then apply hint. Cool. So that's what our line looks like. So every button is going to have this line assigned to it, and that's what lets us use those tooltips. So cancel button, anti-aliasing, amount, texture, aniso, and shadows. All right. Cancel button. Anti-alias button. Anti-aliasing slider button. texture res button, miso button, and shadow button. And shadow hint, miso hint. Okay. I have to adjust my headset. Texture res hint, anti-aliasing. Right. Hold on. Do I have one for? I don't for you, so it's a little different. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and grab this. And this is going to be AA amount hint. And we're going to say the amount of anti-aliasing to apply. Okay, so we're going to say AA amount hint. Cool. So our anti-aliasing button is getting this everyone that is on anti-alias hover. All right. So before we do that, we also need to assign our event listeners for when you hover off of those buttons. If we don't do that, then whatever button you hovered over last will just have its hint always be displayed there. So we want to say basically all of this. Copy this over, except we're going to say on button. Change this to just say on button hover exit. All right, so let's paste that in for everything, because all of them are going to do this. All right, so that should be all of our event listeners. Let's see, do I also have my text ISO input anti-aliasing texture res value? I'm guessing that it's called my output label, if I remember correctly. So output label dot text is equal to nothing. Output text is equal to message. I'll actually just say this. All right, so on anti-alias hover, we're going to have to do something different, which is going to be output text is equal to AA hint plus, okay, this is, yeah, it's going to be a little weird. All right, string hover text is equal to nothing. Well, actually, no, we know it's at least going to be equal to AA hint to start off. And then we're going to say output text is equal to hover text. And then we'll also go ahead and say switch game settings dot anti-aliasing type. Or actually, I think I can do anti-aliasing type, which is not being stored. Really? I store all these things in cached values, don't I? Yeah, cached AA is equal to AA amount. Oh, wait. Okay. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, I guess I just called it AA type. All right. Why is it a string? Seriously? Why is it a string? Find all references here. Yeah, why are you a string? You don't need to be a string. So let me grab this, paste this in here. We're just going to do this. That's much easier. It also lets me come down here and say AA type, and then do stuff with my switch. So case anti-aliasing type dot fxaa break case type dot msaa. Oops. Break. Go ahead and copy this. Okay, so not MSAA, but SSAA, and then TAA. All right, so we're going to say hover text plus equals FXAA hint, and we're basically going to do string concatenation here, which is not admittedly the best, but it will work. All right, so MSAA hint, SSAA hint, and TAA hint. This way, at the very least, we can double check what we can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at our label or our menu itself, because we're gonna have a lot of stuff to check and set references to again. So while that's compiling, I'm gonna take a drink. I feel like one of these days I'm going to have to just do a dev stream, and when I say take a drink, I don't mean drink water. I mean take a shot. That would probably not end well for me. All right, let's go ahead and clear this. Turn on our UI. Turn on our graphics. All right, so all of this is missing now. Fortunately, though, I can actually come over here and say event button. I'm just going to go ahead and steal this event button, or rather, its settings. All right, let's go back here. And content, I think we're going to do the same thing that we did over in the display view. I'm going to disable pretty much everything that I don't think is necessary, which is our scroll bar, content grid, anti-aliasing button. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this, and then we will paste it back in. Drag this down here. Move up, which I know will break all of my references, but that's fine. Let's see. Everything else pretty much works as expected. So we're just going to... Okay. Oh, right. I gotta paste it here. So paste component is new. Let's go ahead and move up. We will add a image. This is going to be fun. Let's move up and move up and move up, up, and up. All right, so this is going to be our solid. Just want to make it sliced. Let's go ahead and say you go there. And what else do I need to do here? Nothing. I think that's good. Yeah. So it's going to be a little frustrating to have to do that for all of my anti-alias or all of my fields here, but yeah, what are you going to do? So actually, you know what? I guess what I'll do first is I'm going to copy this component. I'm going to paste it on these guys. Move you all down. And do I need it on you? I do not, but I do need to replace those. So, all right, let's go ahead and grab our event button. So copy component. We're actually going to replace these. So we're going to remove, then paste component as new, move down. Cool. Let's go ahead and apply our expected changes here. And amount is good, so it's these three. Let's paste component as new. Up. Now we can independently assign these. Cool. So now we should get hover information whenever we hover over those specific areas. Let's change our let's assign our buttons again. So apply button, cancel button, anti-aliasing button, AA amount button, texture resolution, an ISO button, and shadow distance. Cool. So all of those are there. All these hints. Ridiculous. And let's see. What else do I need to do? I'm not sure what I would want to do with this toggle, I suppose. So the current setup for the anti-aliasing button is that you click on it and it'll sort of like toggle through the options that you have. It's not a drop down or anything like that. So I'm actually kind of curious to know how it's doing that. Let's go to anti-alias amount input. Oh, that's the input. Sorry, anti-aliasing value label. Let's go to find all references, and right. Yeah. So we have to change a couple of things. Actually, our anti-aliasing amount is going to get super complex because FXAA, MSAA, and TAA, I believe, all take multiples of 2. So 2, 4, 2, 4, and 8. But for screen space, it's not a multiple of 2. It's a float value between 1 and 2. I think you can technically go higher than. Well, actually, I don't know if you can go higher than 2. I think everything I've ever seen is clamped to 2, because it's multiplying. It's rendering everything out at a super high resolution and then shrinking it back down to fit to your screen. That's how it gets rid of jagged edges. But because of that, it means that it's not the same. It has to be handled differently, which means that I actually need to switch our slider values to behave differently. So that's kind of fun. Let's see. It also means that this is going to have to change. Blah. I could do that one of two ways. I could either have two separate sliders that I enable and disable as I need them, or I could try to. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm yawning so much today. Or I could try to just dynamically change these settings on the fly. That's probably fine. Makes it a little bit easier. Means I don't have to have more fields in this massive inspector of a menu. All right. So while we're doing that, cache anti-aliasing is equal to 0. Right. Okay. So I actually need to change some things, I think. Let's rename this to cached anti-aliasing. Actually, no, let's just change this to cached AA amount. Cached AAA amount. Okay. And we are also going to actually want to add this. And yes, that's all fine. So cached AA type is going to be equal to AA type. So cached AA type is equal to AA type. I'm also just going to go ahead and rename this. All right. So that caches all of our settings, and then we're going to have to reset them on cancel, which is where cancel. Here we are. So AA type is equal to cached AA type. Update settings after all of that. Everything else is working. On anti-aliasing clicked. Right here is where things get a little funky. So we have anti-aliasing button on click add listener. Right. All right. Let's go ahead and say on anti-aliasing clicked. Okay. So this is no longer going to look at our value because we don't care. But we do need to, whenever you click on the anti-aliasing button, it does actually need to reset the anti-aliasing amount down to a sensible level, essentially. So actually, I lied. We are going to still have our value be set here. It's just going to be kind of weird. Okay, jeez. How do I want to format this to make it sensible? Well, I guess the simple thing to do would be is equal to cached AA type plus, and then dot toString. are you, oh, right. And then I got to do this. Might as well just get rid of that. All right. So cached AA amount. That's all pretty good, I think. Although I might actually change this a little bit. So I think I'm going to say string.format. That'll help me make this a little bit easier to read and more presentable. Let's get rid of you, and there we are. So we're going to say 0, and then in parentheses, 1. So that should be what we want here. We're going to go ahead and grab this. But now on click, we actually need to cycle through our potential type values. So let me go to see what my options are in anti-aliasing type. Let's go to definition. Also, this is not screen space; it's actually super sample. So I put them in increments of 10, but is anything actually referencing these right now? Anything public anyway. There's some public static ones, but we don't care about those. All right, everything should be good. I wanted to make sure that I didn't change a value when I brought these back down to 1. I guess I don't need to. I was going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 instead of 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. I guess there's no reason why I can't just leave them as is, though. So let's just go ahead and say, where, actually, no, I am going to do that because that will make it a little bit easier for me to cycle through things. I'm going to do that. Let's go to graphics options view. Everything here is good. Come back down here on anti-aliasing clicked. All right. So here is where things get, I don't know why I don't just do that, but whatever. Go ahead and do this. Right. Interesting. Why on? Oh, right, because I set it back to 0. So when I click the button, I turn my anti-aliasing down to 0, and I'm also going to need to set or cycle through our types. So we're going to have to say switch AA type case anti-aliasing type. Well, no. Let's actually do it this way. Int AA type is equal to an int cast from our AA type. Okay. So since we've reduced these down to 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I can actually just loop through from 0 to 4 and say which one am I on. If I'm less than 4, go ahead and add 1 to my value, and then I can just cast it back to my anti-aliasing type. And then if I'm over 4, or if I'm equal to 4, I just set it back to 0. So I basically have this cycle where I increment, then go back, then increment, then go back, stuff like that. So we're going to say AA type plus plus. Actually, no. Int AA plus 1. And then we'll say if AA type is greater than or equal to, well, no, is greater than anti-aliasing type dot DAA, then I'm going to say AA type is equal to 0. And of course, I forgot to cast this to an int. So it'll loop back around. And why do I have a squiggle here? I don't know. It was just randomly there. All right. And then we're going to say AA type is equal to AA type. And then in front of that, we're going to cast it to anti-aliasing type. All right. So that should work. And now we can just say, uh, value is always going to be 0 here, isn't it? So that's actually kind of moot. I'll just comment it out for now. I'm going to say string.format, so 0, which is the type, and then in parentheses 1. So we'll say AA type, followed by, I guess, just off for now. Okay. So I think that will work. Let's go to update settings, peak definition. Go down here, graphic settings. Do you have shadow distance, anti-aliasing type? We don't really care. Doesn't look like I actually update my anti-aliasing type right now, but that's fine, I guess. Oh, right, because it's kind of irrelevant, actually. I don't need to do anything with our anti-aliasing in that event. So let's actually go to definition, go to definition, and I'm pretty sure that I can actually just get rid of this, because I don't need anything specific to happen when I refresh graphic settings, because everything that's using anti-aliasing will know what it needs to do. Okay, so we're basically all set here. Yes, I believe we are. All right. So let's go ahead and stop, or well, not stop playing. Let's assign our, or apply our changes, and then test this out. I think it will work as is. I don't think I need to do anything extra. Let's see. Is there anything super weird about this? Daily theme. No, it should be fine. ISO input changed. That seems fine. Oh, right. I will need to, I guess, here say if a type is equal to int then anti-aliasing type dot SSAA, then we're just going to debug for now. So debug.log SSAA exclamation point. Otherwise, we'll just debug.log not SSAA. Because again, I need to change how the slider behaves in that instance once it's an SSAA object, or SSAA anti-aliasing. Blah. Really? I forget a colon somewhere? Oh, I did forget a semicolon. How embarrassing. All right. Okay. So all that seems to be good. We have everything assigned. I believe so. Let's go ahead and put this down. Turn you off. Let's hit apply. Turn our UI off. Hit save and give it a test. Uh-oh. Did I see null references? No, it was just me. Okay. Start. Let's go to options, graphics. What? What is happening? Why did you not work? Well, actually, hold on. Let's see if it did. Oh, you know what? I wonder. If I did. Let's go to graphics options. Output label. Interesting. Nothing? That's curious. Let's pick definition. Yeah, output label.text. Huh. Okay. Plus value. Yeah. Weird. On button hover exit. Did it? Hold on. What is going on? I guess let's put in some debugs to make sure that it is debug.log message. I'm a little worried that I have to do that very annoying thing where I have to pass a string here so that I know to remove it. That would not be great. Hover exit. Okay, so now we should be able to see if we enter that hovering. We're not doing anything on hover exit. Oh, duh. On hover exit. I forgot to change these. Silly me. Oops, wrong thing. Leave it to me to forget something simple like that. So that was the problem. It's not that we weren't hovering over them, it's that we were hovering over them and immediately calling refresh so that it clears them out. So that figures. Which probably means that I can actually just go ahead and get rid of these. Just because I want to be overconfident. Okay. There we go. It takes way too long to compile. It also takes way too long to play. And it takes way too long to stop playing. Start. Let's go to options, graphics. Okay, so there we go. The amount of anti-aliasing to apply. So here's where it gets a little odd. Yeah, so it's not going to change if I click on it while I'm hovered. The type of anti-aliasing used, MSAA, is a standard effect for smoothing jagged edges. The type of anti-aliasing used, FXAA, is a fast and cheap effect for smoothing jagged edges. The type of anti-aliasing used, SSAA smooths out edges very well, but may impact performance. Yep, there we go. Temporal AA helps prevent tearing and jagged edges, but may impact performance. I'm not sure if I could really trim that down at all. I mean, yeah, I kind of want to have those descriptions there. They're very nice. And TAA is the only one that's too long, but it's only too long by one word. Of course, that word is massive, performance. I probably should actually look up descriptions for each anti-aliasing solution anyway, so that I can make sure that I'm accurately describing them. Because I've never really used them too much in games. Not because I don't have the rig that can handle it, but I typically... Well, a lot of times they don't tell you what each AA does in game. It's just like, turn on anti-aliasing, yes or no. But I don't want to just do that, so... The amount of anti-aliasing to apply... Adjust the resolution for textures, ranges from 512 to 1024 to 2K. Anisotropic filtering makes textures look sharper when viewed at angles. Okay. How far out shadows are rendered, reduced to help improve performance. Cool. So that's actually a global setting, which means I probably could change it here and it would work. I also need to make sure that it's actually... Actually, I think we can check that real quick. Let's go to game settings. Graphics update, quality settings, shadow distance. So, yes. Also, actually, do I... graphics options view. Do I set that slider value and such to be that whenever I open this up? Cast shadow distance. I don't. Huh. That's kind of weird. Well, let's go ahead and do that, I guess. Um, oh, right, and if it's none, I actually need it to not be anything like that. Okay, let's go ahead and fix some stuff. Let's come down here. On anti-aliasing clicked. I wonder if I should. I probably should. I'm actually going to call on anti-aliasing hover here, and that should refresh our hint label as well whenever you click now. And here I'm going to actually just say, wait, no, no, no. Oh, right, hold on. Yeah, right. Here's where it gets a little nuts and annoying. I don't actually want, when you don't have anti-aliasing on, when it's just off, I don't think it makes sense for you to have a none parentheses off. I think, so I guess I could actually just do this one and say a type is equal to anti-aliasing type dot none question mark and then nothing, otherwise off. So I'm going to also wrap that in parentheses because otherwise I have a tendency to get bit hard by things that I don't wrap. Let's go ahead and come back here. And we got to set our shadow stuff. So we cache our shadow distance, but we don't actually set our slider. So we're going to say shadow slider dot value is equal to cached shadow distance. And I guess I might as well just use cached in ISO here. Cached in ISO dot string 0, and then shadow slider dot not slider shadow input dot text is equal to cached shadow distance dot toString. We'll do 0.0. I don't really see much value in going much more precise than that, so let's go ahead and let that go. Anti-aliasing, let's see, texture resolution slider, NISO slider, NISO input, NISO slider. These are whole numbers, so we don't need to do anything there. I'm not actually doing anything with my slider value right now for my shadow stuff. Really? I thought I had event. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do those. So private void on shadow slider changed flute value. Then private void on shadow input changed. It'll be a string value. All right, so we're going to say shadow distance is equal to value, and our text needs to change. So we're going to go ahead and say shadow input dot text is equal to value dot toString and then 0.0. Okay, here we're going to have a similar value where I say float value, float value, or f value, I guess is what I did before, is equal to value dot toFloat. And we're going to say, I don't really have a clamp, I suppose, but I probably should. I actually don't know what my slider is clamped to there. So let's go ahead and look this up. Shadow slider. I was going to say, where's my shadow slider? They're out of order. I'm going to fix that. So let's bump you down below an isotropic slider. Same thing for our input field. All right. That's good. Let's let that go. Shadow slider. And it's 50 to 150. All right. So let's go ahead and clamp our values there. There we are. So we're going to say f value is equal to. Oh, you know what? I bet I could have just done this. Shadow slider dot min value. So we're actually going to say mathf dot clamp between shadow value slider dot min value and shadow slider dot max value. That actually works pretty well. Oh, and then I got to say f value for our clamping. Let's see. Shadow slider dot value is equal to f value, and then finally shadow distance is equal to f value. All right, let that recompile. And I'm actually curious if my Aniso slider is set to use whole node. It is 0 and 16, so I feel like I probably could just do that. So same thing here, basically. Hold up. Come on. That way I don't have magic numbers floating around. So we're going to say Aniso slider min value and Aniso slider max value. Cool. Let's let that compile, and I think we'll be good to go and give it another shot. And then we should actually be able to tweak things like shadow distance and whatnot, so that we can get better ideas of that and see that in the menu. All right, let's clear out everything. And now we should have more accurate values for these. While, I guess we'll just let this go. Okay, click through this to start. We're going to say options, graphics. Oh, right. Yep, there's all that fun stuff. Yay, so none works. Although I feel like if none works, I probably should disable AA amount, all this fun stuff. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. Like, why could you adjust your anti-aliasing amount if fly in here? Why could you adjust your AA amount if you don't have anti-aliasing enabled? So I should probably just gray this out and not let you do anything with it. Let's see. Texture quality, anisotropic filtering, here's our shadow distance. Really, we're at the minimum, 50. I actually kind of want to see this. So Unity, text quest, build, text quest, and settings, game settings. Oh, shadow distance is set to 50. Huh. All right, well, we can. Oh, I have texture filtering enabled there too. But it's not actually doing anything. I'm pretty sure I'm not actually using this. I'm guessing that I have this in there because maybe I should expose that, but that would require. I don't think I can really do that for my substance workflow. It would require me to expose a bunch of crap. Fly getting in my face. So I probably shouldn't worry about that. But at the very least, we can. Ooh. Oh no, it's not updating. Okay, let's go to 100. Wow, this is not super great because it should not select this when I hit enter. Okay. Why is our shadow like none of this? Oh, I know why. Because I didn't add event listeners to them because I'm stupid. All right, this should work, I think. maybe. Let's see. It does. Okay. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look at the tiles down here at the bottom left, where my cursor is right now, as I'm dragging this anisotropic filtering around, you'll see them become sharper. So I tend to keep it at 16 because honestly, I don't think that the game works very well if it's not got super sharp textures. So 16 anisotropic filtering is kind of a necessity. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that, but I prefer to present it and play it like that. I think you can be fine without it, but obviously it's much easier to read with it on. Texture quality. This actually I don't think causes a manual rebuild right away. I'm pretty sure. Although I might actually have to look into that. And then AA amount is not doing anything. So none of these have event listeners on their sliders apparently. That's kind of weird. Also, it's weird that our AA amount is set to 8. I'm pretty sure it's set to 0 here. Okay. So things don't quite work the way I would expect, but they do technically work. Alright, so let's go ahead and say stop playing. We're going to come down here. Let's see. On slider changed. On Aniso slider changed. But it doesn't. So Aniso slider change. We set our input text here. Huh. Oh, I didn't actually notice if the Aniso slider was changing. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. But everything else was not. So that's a little annoying. Set our texture resolution. Oh, okay, there we go. We set our label here. Anti-aliasing clicked. Yeah, I don't have anything for our sliders. All right, let's go ahead and add that. So private void on anti-aliasing amount. Yeah, but we'll shorten this. On AA slider changed float value. Do stuff. It's not supposed to be that though. All right, then private void on AA input changed string value. All right, and let's see here. Texture, Aniso, shadow, so all that stuff's in there. So let's scroll down here. All right, so we're gonna say shadow slider dot on value changed add listener on shadow slider changed shadow input dot on end edit add listener on shadow input changed, which apparently I spelled knacht. Don't know what happened there. There we go. Let's see, what else do I need to do? Oh, right, the button. So anti-aliasing amount slider dot on value change dot add listener on AA slider changed anti-aliasing value label. No. Do I not have an input field for this? Let's see. On anti-aliasing clicked. Cancel clicked. Let's see up here. Yeah, anti-alias amount input. Okay. Anti-alias amount input. There it is. On end edit add listener on AA input changed. Okay. So I think those will actually adjust themselves now. But we do have to handle, I guess, setting all these things. So let's see here. We're going to say float f value is equal to value dot to float, and crud. Let me think. If AA type is equal to type dot SSAA, else we're going to do something else. We're going to say AA amount is equal to F value. Otherwise, we're going to say AA amount is equal to F value dot to int. Actually, I guess I can just leave it like that, can't I? So I can just say AA amount. AA amount is equal to value. And we're also going to say, oh, sorry, not value, F value. F value. And then we also say, we need to convert our, or we need to change our slider values. So I need to say anti-alias amount slider dot value is equal to F value. So all of that should be good. Slider change, pretty much the same thing, except we're just going to say AA amount is equal to value, and then anti-alias amount input dot text is equal to value. Oh, actually, no, this one is going to be different. So this one I need to say is equal to value dot to string, and then I actually need to change how it's formatted. So we're going to say AA type is equal to anti-aliasing type dot SSAA question mark, and if it is, then we are going to have 0.00, I think, for our input type, and otherwise we are going to say 0. And that's because for super sampling anti-aliasing it's a float value, but everything else it's an int value. Sorry, gotta adjust my headset. All right, is that all I needed to do? I think that might have been all I needed to do. Cool. So let's give that a shot. Oh, and actually, before I forget, I almost forgot this one. This. Cool. So we actually want this to be a empty one that's not wrapped in parentheses. And, oh, how do I want to handle this? I suppose I need to say AA type is equal to what? Anti-aliasing type dot none question mark. If so, it's not going to have anything afterwards. Otherwise, it's going to have some parentheses wrapped around things. Plus and parentheses. All right, so let's give this a try. See if everything actually works this time. I have high hopes. Oh, dang it. I always forget. One of these days I will remember to actually put what I'm doing up before, like, the 2-hour mark. Well, not 2 hour, I guess. Hour and a half. You know, but we round up, I suppose. All right. So now we should get proper hints on everything. The anti-aliasing hint should change as we change or cycle through our anti-aliasing types. The slider values should now adjust their inputs, and their inputs should adjust their sliders, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, dang it. We did forget to change it so that when we have SSAA set up, I typed SSAA, I meant to type start, but whatever, that works. Options, graphics. So let's see if you change. Okay, so good, you do. We're working in whole numbers here. Oh, we do need to change our anti-aliasing amount actually on click. So if I keep it here at 8 and I click, this should get set to 0, and it does encode, but I don't update my AA amount here. So I need to do that. And likewise, I also need to change our anti-aliasing label here as I scrub through our value here. Although, crap, right, these are whole numbers, but they're not in increments of 2. Whoopsie. That means that I need to actually lower this to 4, I believe, instead of 8, and then just multiply the value by 2, and then actually assign that int value. Okay. Well, that'll work. It's similar to what I do for texture quality. So you can see that's 2048 here. But obviously I'm not jumping between those values in the actual slider. I'm just sort of getting my value 0, 1, or 2 and then converting it. So let's see. Aniso filtering. This does adjust it. That's good. And we know that that actually does work. Um, so I can adjust the shadow distance, but the funny thing is that I'm not going to really be able to see it because if 50 was our lowest and that's what it was set at anyway, um, these are all obviously closer than 50 meters or within 50 meters, so we're not going to see any changes there. I can't lower it below 50 for shadow distance. I mean, that's a lie. I could lower it below 50, but I really don't think that shadows that are only 50 feet away don't need to be rendered. So I think I'm going to... can't talk. I think I'm going to leave 50 as the minimum for shadow distance. Unless people... I guess I can ask around about that. I'm honestly not sure. I guess you can... In some games, you can shut off shadows altogether, which would just be a shadow distance of 0, but I don't know if that's necessary or not. Okay, so this all works, and if I go ahead and just like bring this down to 2, and we'll keep this as is. So let's hit apply, and then I want to check out our actual value here. So let's take a look at our settings. So MSAA times 2, texture resolution of 10, shadow distance of 50. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and bump this up to like I don't know, 75, I guess, and hit apply. I would like to double check. I'm also going to open this up in Notepad++ because we'll actually be able to get prompts to reload this instead of having to close it and open it every time. Okay, so get that saving out. So all of our anti-aliasing is correct, except I just need to actually get our interface to work a little bit better. So let's go ahead and stop playing. All right, so we have some fancy things that we need to do. Let's see here. First things first, on anti-aliasing clicked, here we are. So if our anti-aliasing type is SSAA, then we need to change some of the stuff in our slider. Oh, and actually, you know what? Else, if AA type is equal to int anti-aliasing type dot none, then we are going to gray out all of our anti-aliasing amount stuff and make them non-interactable. Else, we will just do everything as expected. So let's go ahead and scroll up here. We're going to need to apply some changes. And what do I want to do with this? Colors. That's right, colors. So I need to say, swat the fly that's flying around me for some reason. This is the first insect that I've had all summer, and it's not even summer anymore. All right, so public color enabled color is equal to color.white, and then public color disabled color is equal to color.gray. And I will also add a couple of references here. So I'm going to go ahead and say public graphic AA amount graphics is equal to new. So this is an array that, I'm going to go ahead and tooltip this, is basically going to be used whenever I enable and disable the slider for the anti-aliasing amount. These are going to be the things that I tint to be gray or white to show you that they're enabled or disabled. So graphics, capital G, that are tinted when AA amount is enabled, disabled. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm actually going to tooltip these two as well because they're kind of nondescript. So I'm going to say color to tint tint AA amount graphics when AA amount functionality is enabled. Copy that, paste it down here, and we're going to say just disabled. Cool. We'll let that compile, and we'll take a look at our graphics to see what we need to place in that list. Shazam! Abracadabra. All right then. Let's turn on our UI, turn on our graphics. Cool. Let's open this up. It looks like we're going to want 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say. Yes. Oh, 4, actually. So 4. I probably should also do something about our slider background, but I'm honestly not entirely sure what to do about that. I guess I can add a field for it here. It's not particularly great, but I honestly don't know what else to do. So let's go ahead and add some extra colors. So we're going to say, I'm going to duplicate this, paste this down here, and this is going to be slider enabled colors, and then slider disabled colors. Color to tint, AA amount, slider, if I could type, and then we'll just go ahead and say up here, public graphic, AA amount, slider, graphic, tooltip, graphic on the slider to tint when AA amount is enabled, disabled. All right, let that go. While that's compiling, let's go down here to our on anti-aliasing clicked. All right, so if AA type is equal to none, we're going to go ahead and say AA amount slider graphic dot color is equal to slider disabled color anti-aliasing amount slider dot interactable, except I can't spell interactable apparently. Interactable is equal to false, as is anti-alias amount input interactable is equal to false. All right. And in addition to that, we're going to say for int I is equal to 0, I is less than AA amount graphics dot length I plus plus AA amount graphics of I dot color is equal to disabled color. All right. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and grab these and move them into a private function. So I'm just going to say right here, private void, come on, capital, disable AA amount. Yeah, we'll just call it that, I guess. And then private void, enable AA amount, pretty much the same thing. So let's go. Slider enabled color, interactable is set to be true and true. All right. So now we can come over here and we can say enable slider or AA amount. And we'll just go ahead and do that in both cases here, and then we'll disable AA amount when our anti-aliasing type is set to none. Let's see, what else do I need to do? If we're set to none, I think that's it. Otherwise, we have some things that we need to do down here. So we're going to say anti-alias amount slider dot whole numbers is equal to false, and anti-alias amount slider dot min value is equal to I think it's from 0 to 2. So a value of 0 for SSAA means it's just the same SSAA, or the same resolution that you're running at now. Value of 1 is twice as large, and a value of 2 is 4 times as large, I believe. So think of it like 100% conversions. So when you say you have 50% more people, you don't have 50% as many people. You have as many of you had plus half of the amount that you had. That's the way to think about it. So we're going to say anti-alias amount slider dot max value is equal to 2f, and I think anti-alias amount input dot type, I think content type, I believe, yes, okay, is equal to decimal number versus, so we're going to do all of that, but in basically reverse. So whole numbers is equal to true, min value is equal to 0, f, max value will be equal to 4f, because again we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 4, or 0, 1, 2, 3, so, and that stands for 0, 2, 4, 8, so I actually need this to be 3. And then integer number for this. Okay, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and change our, oh, well, nope, that's actually going to do it. Let's see, anti-aliasing value label dot text is equal to all this fun stuff. Oh, right, forgot that, sorry. I need to change the slider stuff too. So I actually want to say on AA slider changed 0f. Or actually more accurately, I probably need to just say anti-alias amount slider dot value is equal to 0f. Because again, I want to reset the amount of anti-aliasing being applied whenever you toggle through your AAs. So, okay. I think this will more or less do what we want. All right. Now I need to assign our graphics. So, don't need to worry about you or you, AA amount. So we're going to have the section label be in there. Then our background, no. Okay, it is the background. Come on. So there's our background, and I believe our fill is what we want here. So if I turn, yep, okay. Oh, and while I'm here, let's go ahead and grab this, and then paste that into our slider enabled color. All right, so that's the fill area stuff. The other graphics I'm going to want are these two. So input text is going to be 1, and I'm guessing it's you. Yes. Okay. So there. That's our graphics. Everything else is correct. All right. So let's go ahead and apply these changes. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I forget, let's go ahead and change. Right, I need to do our numerical conversions. So I actually have to go to slider from 0 to 4. And, oh, sorry, no, 0 to 3, actually by default. And we can still go ahead and disable these and apply changes. It's just that I need need to do some more code before I do anything else. So let's see here. On a slider changed. No, all of you are fine. Oh, and actually, you know what? We're also going to go ahead and say anti-alias amount input dot max. Right. Is there a limit? Yeah, character limit is equal to 1. And otherwise, it's going to be up here, and it's going to be equal to 4. So 0.00, 4 characters. That'll just help control it a little bit, so you don't accidentally put in like 10,576 when that is a nonsensical value. Oh, and I don't actually try to clamp it, so I kind of need to do that here, don't I? So we're going to go ahead and say if a type is equal to anti-aliasing type dot SSAA. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't need to do that. Instead, I can just say f value is equal to mathf dot clamp f value, then anti-aliasing amount slider dot min value, anti-aliasing amount slider dot max value. Okay, and we will also say if a type is equal to SSAA. What else do I need to do there? I needed to do something else, and I've forgotten. No! What did I forget? A type is equal to SSAA value. Oh, no. If it's not equal to that, I'm sorry. If it's not equal to SSAA, then we need to actually convert it. So we're going to say, let's see here. So it'd be 2 to the power of whatever we're raising, I think. So, except power is a terribly inefficient thing, apparently. So I guess I could just do a for loop. For int I equals 0, I is less than. Oof. Really? All right, yeah, I guess I would do that. So int I value is equal to f value dot to int. This stupid freaking fly is really annoying. I'm gonna have to find my fly swatter or train my cat to catch flies. Either way, both seem about equally likely to happen. So it's less than I value, or I plus plus. All right. So in this case, we're going to basically loop until we turn our f value into what it should be. So we're going to say f value. Oh crap! No. Hold on. So we're actually going to say f value is equal to crap. All right, so I have to say if f value is greater than 0, then we're going to do a for loop. Otherwise, we can just leave it as is, I suppose. Oh, and I can probably actually do this. Otherwise, it would be pointless. All right, so if it's greater than 0, then we need to actually do conversions on it. So we're going to say, let's see here. F value is equal to 2f. So we're going to do a hard set to 2f if it's greater than 0, because that's the minimum value could be. And then we're just going to say f value times equals 2f. That is, oh my goodness, not correct. Let's make that 1. All right, so if our f value to, nope. Nope, 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 nope. Wait, no. Sorry, let me think this through. So our f value can have 4 possible values: 0, 1, 2, and 3. If it comes in at 0, we're not going to do anything to it because it's going to be 0. If it comes in at 1, then we need it to be 2. So we'll just leave it at 2 because we'll set this to 1 and then we won't loop through it. If it comes in at 2, then we'll need it to loop once. If it comes in at 3, we'll need it to loop twice. So yes, this should work. Yeah, everything should work as expected, I think, here. And then we're going to have to kind of do the same thing here. So let's go ahead and grab this. Set this here. We're going to just change these to value. All right. So that should work. That should convert all of our numbers to be the expected values. Okay. And I guess while I'm in here, I need to do one more thing, which is down here at the end. We're going to say if cached AA type is equal to anti-aliasing type dot none, disable AA amount, else enable AA amount. Let's go ahead and just make these one-line statements. All right. I think that will make things function a little bit more predictably. And it means that I don't have to do anything super weird with my anti-aliasing values. Use a slider dot value. That's all good. That's all good. I don't know if I actually need to change you or not. Well, maybe I'm gonna actually comment these guys out. All right. So now we should be good to test. And this should get all of our expected values. So if we don't have anti-aliasing enabled, then our anti-aliasing amount stuff should be grayed out. And if it is enabled, then it would be the reverse. Let's go ahead and play this. I just thought of something. We might need to change the slider color when it's disabled to not be the same shade of gray. Otherwise, as the other graphics when they're disabled, otherwise it's going to look like one big gray block, and I probably should make it just a darker gray to make it still understandably be a slider. Let's go to options, graphics, ×2. Ah, dang it, I forgot to do that. Also, what the heck? Why are you... Okay, whatever. So this is at least good. We can see that it's going from 0 to 4 and 8. That's all good. Let's put it at 2. Let's see. If you know what, I probably shouldn't make these have a clickable effect to them. But then again, I guess it's not hurting anything. So we convert that. Good. Off, off, off. None. Okay, I can't do anything. I might also just disable this button, I guess, because there's no point in having tooltips and there's no point in having this thing that makes you think you can do things while it's being clicked. So yeah, I might also change that. Let's see. Everything else is working. Let's go ahead and reduce that down to 50 again and hit apply. So let's go ahead and make those quick changes. I'm also going to look at my script here. So anti-aliasing type is none. Anti-aliasing amount is 0. That's good. NISO, texture resolution, shadow distance, all correct. Looking good. All right, let's go ahead and let's go back here. Well, before I delete that, let's make sure that I actually have things working. Where's my enable and disable? Here we are. So we're going to say AA amount button. Nope, it's just anti-aliasing Dang it, what did I call my button? Anti-aliasing slider button. Because of course I did. Anti-aliasing slider button dot interactable is equal to true in this case. Grab this, oops, paste it back in, paste, and make this false. Alright, and while we are here, let's go ahead and change our color for the slider when it's disabled to be a darker gray. I think that'll fix that little aesthetic issue. Assuming that it compiles. At some point in my lifetime, that would be nice. Let's go ahead and darken it to like that. Yeah, that's probably good. Let's see. Do I need anything else? No, that should be good. Let's go ahead and apply that. Put this down, hit save. Alright. So, oh, dang it, I forgot to change our value again, didn't I? So if I go to down here, on slider changed, yeah, I don't change the label for the amount of anti-aliasing that we have applied, but I'm going to need to do that. Start, options, graphics, anti-aliasing, type of anti-aliasing used. Yep, so none of this is... That's weird. It's like some of these have their values changed. I'm guessing that these are targeted by their respective things. So, all right. So good. We're not getting any hovering text or hovering information when we hover over it now, which is expected, I suppose. So that's fine. Anti-aliasing, if we convert that to MSAA, let's bring that up to 0. FXAA, SSTAA, then off. We set it to none at 0. I guess that makes sense. Let's check if our SSAA, good. It's all working. Change this back. Right, so I do need to update, I guess, this text value whenever I change anti-aliasing types. I need it to just be 0. Okay, what else? Or actually, it probably should be 0 if it's not SSAA, and then if it is SAA, it should be 0.00. So go ahead and make sure I can do 1.0. That's good. Let's change it to TAA. Can I do 1.0? Nope, I can only do 1, and I only get the 1 digit. So that's good. Wow, that that did not do what I expected. So if I set it to 1, oh my. If I set it to 0, 1 goes all the way up to 4. I kind of feel like that should not be the case. Okay. If I set U to 4, it goes all the way up to 8. That's kind of expected. Yeah, if I set it to 1, I would expect it to go to 2. And if I set it to 2, I expect it to be 2. And if I set it to 3, I expect it to go to 4. Basically rounding up. And then anything between 4 and 8 would be 8. Well, nope. I actually guess, I guess 5 would be 4, and 6 and 7 would be 8. So we need to change that. And everything else I think is pretty much working as expected. So let's go ahead and fix that issue. And also get this anti-aliasing label changed. So I think I'm going to actually add a function up here, similar to what I did for disable AA amount. I'm going to go ahead and say private void refresh AA label. So let's go ahead and say this. Refresh AA label. All right. So we're going to say, instead of cached AA type, just AA type. AA type is equal to all that fun stuff. And then AA amount is equal to 0. Otherwise, we're going to say is equal to AA amount. Okay. I think we're good there. And no, we actually need to say a amount dot to string, and then we have to do that wonderful check where we say a type is equal to anti-aliasing type dot SSAA question mark. If that's the case, then it's going to be formatted 0.00. Otherwise, it's just going to be formatted at 0. Okay, I think that's a good catch-all, and I think that means that I can just refresh or call refresh label whenever I do these things. So let's see, anti-aliasing amount input is equal to all that stuff is true. Oh right, and on anti-aliasing clicked, we're going to say this. So anti-aliasing amount slider, anti-aliasing value label. That's interesting. Why would you not change? So when we set our value here for the anti-aliasing amount slider, it should automatically. Oh, I bet it's because it's the same value. Crud. Okay. Well, it's not the end of the world, I suppose. So I guess we'll just do this. If anti-aliasing amount slider dot value does not equal AA amount, then we will call, we'll just do it like that. Otherwise, we have to manually set everything. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, paste this in here, and is equal to, I guess it would just be this, wouldn't it? Oh. Sorry. I accidentally deleted my own thing. And then I'm just going to wrap it in parentheses because I'm paranoid. All right. So this should hopefully get all of that formatting as I expect and changing when I expect it. Except, nope, I almost forgot. I need to do that. I need to call refresh here. So I need to say refresh AA label. And same thing for on input changed. Refresh AA label. Oh, right. Let's also figure out why our AA input changed here is coming out weird. So if we input 1, that gets converted to 1 float. If f value is greater than 0, so that's correct. I value is equal to that float value to int, which would be 1. And is that because it doesn't break out? So even though I set I to be equal to 1, I wouldn't be less than I value in that case, and it should just break out immediately. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Interesting. I wonder what it could be. I'm going to put in a debug here. Debug.log value debug.log I value. And I'm just going to put one debug in here, debug.log. We'll say conversion, and then plus I. So that'll let us know how many times it cycles through. I didn't think of that in a stupid way, did I? I mean, that seems correct. Wait. No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Hmm. Okay. Well, let's see what happens. And the eternity continues. Type start. Options, graphics. This is annoying, but I guess to be expected. Let's go ahead and change this to MSAA off times 2 times 4. Oh, that's so nice. Okay, now change this to 2. Conversion 1. No. No, yep. That would be correct. That's somewhat counterintuitive then, isn't it? Oh, jeez. Ah, right. It's doing that because that actually makes sense. So the problem is that when I put in 2, it thinks that the slide it interprets that as the slider value being 2, which would mean that it's actually interpreted as being 4, which is why it came out as 4. That makes sense, and anything above that would be 3, obviously. Ugh, crud. Okay. So let's test out our other stuff real quick, I guess. Let's go ahead and set you to 0. FXAA, SSAA, good. So everything changes as you would expect. Ah, how beautiful is that? Okay. Let's set it to none, and I don't think I need anything else to test right now, so let's go ahead and just stop playing. Oh, you know what? No, I guess it's all true. Okay. So I have to treat this loop differently on AA input changed. Oh boy. Oh boy. I could make a switch statement that basically just evaluates it. It would be super easy. But I feel like that would be inelegant. I want to come up with a good solution for this. So we get our string value, which can be any number, honestly. And in the case that we need to examine it, it could be any number between 0 and 9. So I mean, I could modulo this, or modulus this. Would that make sense, though? Not really. Because I would kind of... So the expected behavior here is that you would type in the amount of anti-aliasing that you want, which would be 2, 4, or 8. But with the way it currently works, it's going to interpret that all kinds of wonky. And it's going to clamp your value between 0 and 3. But that means that when you input 2, it's actually going to think that you want anti-aliasing of 4. That's not correct. So I need to change how I clamp that. I can't think of a good mathematical way of doing this, though. Because I basically want 1 and 2 to go to 2, 3 and 4, 3, 4, and 5 to go to 4, and 6, 7, 8, and above to go to 8. Fine, I'll just... Fine, I'll do a friggin' switch value here. So I'm just going to say... Oh, I can't. Oh, crud. I can't, actually, because that won't work. Yep. Crud. Um, okay, actually, I guess it can. So let's go ahead and do this. Else, clamp it as expected. And okay. So if it's not anti-aliasing type of SSAA, we're just going to do a switch statement. Oh, actually, I lied. Hold on. And value is greater than 0, of course. Then we'll do a switch statement that's going to look like this. Switch I value. We'll do case 0. Well, no, it's pointless to have a case 0 because you can't get to that point. So case 1 and case 2. We will set I value is equal to 1. Case 3, break I value. I'm going to copy this real quick. So 4 and 5. 4 and 5. I value will be equal to 2. And then for cases 6, 7, 8, and 9, I value will be set to 3. That should clamp everything as expected. So, okay. Let's also... No, that's fine. Go ahead and let that go. Also, so our anti-aliasing is set to 0. I'm kind of curious as to why our slider jumped to not 0. Peak definition, refresh graphics settings. Maybe it's pointing at the wrong thing. I don't know. It should be 0 when we come in. If it's not, then it's not looking at the right value when it pulls things in. That's very odd, but it's possible, I suppose. All right, let's go ahead and say start. Let's go to options, graphics. It's still 8. That's interesting. So why? Cached AA amount is equal to AA amount. Needs to slider up value. Oh, it's because I don't actually. Geez, really? Okay, let's stop that. It's because I don't actually set it. Because I'm an idiot. So anti-alias amount slider is equal to cached AA amount. Huh. Oh, sorry, dot value. Geez, don't know what was. Okay. I probably should also do the same thing for our other sliders. So texture res slider dot value is equal to cached text res int value. And just out of curiosity, I would like to make sure that I am setting this between 9, 10, and 11 for texture resolution. So substances, for some reason, they use an int value for their resolution, and that's not an int value like 512 or 1024. It's an int value for 9. An int value of 9 is 512, an int value of 10 is 1024, and an int value of 11 is 2K. Let's go to texture slider. Tell me I've clamped this. Okay, good. That's still super weird, but yep, okay, we'll do that. And that is the only slider that I had to change, correct? Aniso and Shadow are already done. Oh, and I guess I might as well put them in order. So, yes. let that go ahead and compile, and then we should be good to test again. And then I think we'll call that a night. I know we still have a little bit of work to do on our actual menu cameras, in the sense that we need to get them to react to anti-aliasing changes, but I think storing them will work for now. Just making sure that those values actually get changed and loaded. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Start. All right, options, display, graphics, anti-aliasing of none, that's good. All of this is getting set as expected. All right, let's lower anisotropic down to 8 just so that I can test it. MSAA off, let's jump that to 2, 4, 8, good. If I put you at 1, you didn't do it. Wow, that's actually, no, what the heck? No sense has been made here. All right. Let's make that 0. And then let's go ahead and apply and stop playing. Let's start MSAA 0, NISO 8. So the next thing when we go back in, we're going to make sure that NISO level 8 is correct. Let's see here. Did I change it in the wrong anti-aliasing stuff? Changed. Of course. No, it's, yeah, that was, what is going on here then? All right, I guess we'll debug. So debug.log I value. Then down here, debug.log I value. I don't quite know how this could have happened. Yeah. So I don't think it would have a different value. It couldn't have a value of final references here. Wait, hold on. Yeah, on int edit, add listener, on a input change, go to definition. That's correct. Huh. Then what is happening here? That's so weird. Well, all right. Let's get back in there and see what the debug logs say. Because we should get our expected value first, and then the adjusted value second, assuming that it's actually doing that. I wonder if it's not for some reason. That would be strange. That would be super strange, actually. Start, options, graphics, amount, set equal to 0, good. So ANISO filtering did get saved and it does get loaded properly. Okay, so 1. It gets set to 1 and 1. 2. But it didn't change our slider. Ah! What the heck? That's... come on. That's so weird, though, that changing it to 2 will actually... Wait, hold on. If it's 8 and I go to 2, it goes to 4. But if it's 4 and I go to 2, it goes to 2? What? What? No sense has been made there. Okay, we're gonna clear this. We're not gonna maximize on play. 1 gets set to 1, but it's interpreted as 4 because otherwise this value wouldn't be like that. If I set it to 2, I'm also gonna not collapse these. It gets set to 1. That's correct. 3 gets set to 2. That's correct. 4, 4 and 2, 5, 5 and 2, 6, 6 and 3. That's correct. 0, 6. Okay, 0 and 5 should be 4, but it's not. What is going on here? I do not know why this is happening. Because our adjusted I value should make it impossible. If it's 1, then 1, our F value should be 2. And if it's 2, then our F value again would still be 2, because this 1 here should stop it. Unless it's going for some reason, but that should not be the case, because immediately, if our F value, or if our I value is set to 1 or 2, it would get set to back to 1, no matter what. Which means that when we come down here to our for loop, our I value of 1 wouldn't be greater than the I value we've actually, the integer I that we've specified, because that starts at 1, which means that this for loop should not even fire. What the heck is going on here? Test. Let that compile. Oh, and actually, you know what? I don't want to just do test. I need to do test plus I. I need to know how many times it goes through that loop. Otherwise, I won't get as much information as I need. I need to know if it's firing more than once for some reason when the F value is 1 or 2. All right. Clear you. Let's see what happens. I don't have any idea why it's doing it, but I would like to know. Start, options, graphics, 1. Wow! Look at that. We didn't even get a debug there. How did it get to 4? There it is. That's it. Okay. Okay. I understand. So this actually needs to go here. And otherwise we need this to go here. Ew. Gross. Really? I have to do it this way? I need an else statement for just this case. That is kind of gross. That's because at the end here I have to say slider value is equal to I value. Okay. So that was my problem, is that I was not setting my F value correctly. Well, no, I was setting my F value correctly. I wasn't setting my slider value correctly. That is rather frustrating, but I guess that makes sense. All right, let's let that go. I do also think that as with things the way they are right now, if you type in 3 and then that jumps to 4, but then you type 3 again, it will not correct the 3. Now the anti-aliasing amount that's displayed at the top will still be correct, but the amount that you can see in the box will be incorrect. That's a theory. I don't know if that's true for certain, but I'm guessing that it is. So let's go ahead, skip through all this. Start. Options, graphics. Okay, so 1. Okay. If I do 1, so yeah, you can see that that's what I was talking about. So I need to basically force it back up. So 2, good. 3 should jump to 4. 4 should go to 4. 5 should go to 4. 6 should go to 8. Let's go back down to 4. Let's go to 7. Let's go to 4. Let's go to 9. Let's go to 4. Let's go to 8. All right. We got that to finally behave as expected. So we just need to reset that text value. Whew. All right. I think that I think we can do this. So one more minor change real quick to get that text value to be correct, and then we'll be done. We will be done for the night because I am drained. Also, I have contract work that I probably should do. Let's see. Where do I want to set it? It kind of sucks because it's going to trigger another on AA input changed. I mean, I could just assign or unassign, then assign event listeners, I guess. It's not the end of the world. Right. All right. Yeah, that's not great. I'm trying to think of how to do this in the way that is least annoying for me. There is not really a super good way to do this, is there? Nope. So I'm just going to do this. Anti-alias amount input dot on end edit, not on end drag, on end edit dot remove all listeners, and anti-alias amount input dot on end edit dot add listener on AA input changed, and then we're just going to say anti-alias amount input dot text is equal to f value. Yes. Not toString. Because if it was the I value, it would be incorrect. And I guess we'll go ahead and just do formatting for formatting's sake there. And we should be good. Okay. So let's let that go. I don't have any more debugs in there, do I? Nope. Okay. I don't. That's definitely kind of a weird thing that we had to do there. But, well, I mean, it's all usability, user experience stuff. It's important that the user can't accidentally input something that's not correct or not a valid number, and it's also important that you don't keep that number if it's invalid because it would just confuse people, even if things are going all right in the background. Go ahead and start. Options, graphics. Go ahead and do maximize on play. MSAA off. TAA. Okay, so everything on there is good. I'm going to get some screenshots. All right. Let's do FXA times 4. Just do like 0.5 here. Uh-oh. What is going on? That was weird. Maybe I hit 5 by accident. Huh. I can't. Oh, crap. I took another screenshot by accident. Oh. Okay. What is going on? 0.5. Okay. Now you're just being mean. Interesting. So you can't, even though it's highlighted, I can't actually type anything. Oh, no, I can, but I can't do decimals. That's interesting. What the heck? So I can't do decimals. Ah, that's super annoying. If I have all 4 characters in there, I can't do decimals, or it just doesn't accept them. You have to delete, then press. Ugh, gross. Um, all right, go ahead and save some of this out. Turn this back to TAA. Let's hit apply. All right, I think that's probably a pretty good place to stop for the night. We got all of those effects are being stored and they are being referenced by things that need them, but we have to actually set up our anti-aliasing scripts still. That's not something that's been set up, so that's something to do on a later dev stream. But yeah, that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. Oh, and I almost clicked back on Unity, but that would have sucked because then it would have imported all of my screenshots, which I don't really need it to. So let's go ahead and, before I go back, let's pull this stuff over to my screenshots folder. All right, so that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. We have all of our graphic settings actually set up now. Those controls are all doing something finally. They're all formatted in ways that I think look pretty good and function pretty good, or pretty well, I should say. And there's nothing really confusing about them, I don't think. I do need to tweak some things like the hint for the temporal anti-aliasing since it's too long. But aside from that, everything is largely done there, I think. I'm sure that in the future I'll come back to the graphic settings and add like an advanced tab or something. But because we have the space, I think, for one more option in graphics, and I think we could just explode that out into the advanced section if necessary. But it's not like I really have a lot of graphics that you need to tweak. It's just something that would be a nice exercise to have, I suppose. In any case, that's a good place to stop for the night. Before we leave, announcements. We should be back on Saturday for a regular dev stream. This is the weekend before GDEX, so next weekend is going to be GDEX, which means that I will not be doing a dev stream then. And I'm willing to bet that Thursday night next week I probably won't be doing a dev stream. But aside from that, we should be on schedule. So this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I should be doing my dev streams. My Saturday dev stream and then my Sunday art stream. And then next Tuesday, I'm going to say that I'm probably going to do my dev stream. If I'm feeling a little too crunched on polish and all that, I will not. But assuming that doesn't happen, then we'll see what happens. All right, so as always, I want to thank everyone very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.